Cafe, and tonight it is, and today in Babassy's case, this afternoon, it is Solar Story, and I seem to have lost him. He was with us. I think it comes up as Zoom user. We haven't got your video, Solar. I'm going to hand over to Solar as soon as I see you. Can we have your video, please, Solar?
I'm coming. Can you hear me?
Okay. Can you get your video showing?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
There.
Oh, there you are.
Yes,
So, Solar, I'm going to have to go away because I'm at a festival and there's a lot of noise and stuff. So,
I see.
but meanwhile, Solar, have a fine time. And remember, Sunday is Worldwide Story Round. Everyone is welcome to come and tell a story. But for now, can we put our hands up together for Solar Story?
Yay.
Okay.
All right. Greetings.
Over to you, Solar.
All right, then. Okay. Greetings, everyone. Greetings. Greetings, Babassi. Long time. Long time. Greetings, cute sir, Mr. President King Louis. Terry Locks, Ohio, USA, the World Storytelling Cafe itself. Greetings. So, my name is Sola Story, on account of the fact that I tell stories. And I would like to say to each of you that I am very, very glad to be here. It has been a long time since I told stories. And so I would like to begin by asking you to say a response. When I say, in a place far from here, I would like you to unmute and say, but near to there. So let's try that. In a place far from here,
but near to there.
Aha, excellent. In a place far from here,
but near to there.
And one more time. In a place far from here,
but near to there.
Yes, exactly. There was a man who was walking through a farm, and it was a hot and sunny day, rather like it is in the UK at the moment in London. Very hot, very sunny, but in a grey, cloudy, rainy kind of way. So he was walking through this farm on this day. And on the farm, there were lots and lots of chickens. And the chickens were walking around like chickens do, going, "Meow." Actually, I don't think that my way of sounding like a chicken is very good. So could I have you give me a chicken? So when I say like a chicken, I would like you to give me a chicken sound. So like a chicken.
Bark, 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 bark.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Let's just try it again, just to get you in the flavor. Like a chicken. Excellent. So he was walking through this farm like no, he wasn't. He was just walking through the farm. And all these chickens were making a sound. And then he walked a bit further, and he noticed the one of the chickens was very, very big. He walked a little bit closer, like I'm coming to you now. And as he walked closer, he saw that this chicken was so big, it looked different from every other chicken. But when he got close enough, he saw that the chicken was not a chicken at all. In fact, it was an eagle. But the eagle was behaving like a chicken. At this point, you unmute and say, yeah, nice one. Future Mr. President King Louis, perfect. So this eagle was behaving like a chicken. We've got it. So he said to himself, oh no, 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 no. I'm not having this. I am going to teach this eagle how to fly. And so he picked the eagle up and he climbed to the top of a barn. And at the top of the barn, he held the eagle up on his arm like this. Can everybody hold the eagle up on your arm like this? And then he said, behold yourself and fly. So I would like all of you to unmute and say, behold yourself and fly. So after 3, 1, 2, 3. Behold yourself and fly. Excellent. And he flew the eagle high into the air. But the eagle flapped to the ground, going like a chicken. Excellent. Excellent. The chickens of the world would be ashamed, but nevertheless, that's wonderful. So he climbed down the tree. He picked up the eagle again. Oh, sorry, the barn. He picked up the eagle again. And then he said to himself, I'm going to climb a tall, tall, tall tree. And I will throw the eagle from the tall, tall, tall tree. So he climbed to the top of a tall tree and he climbed and eventually reached the top. And he held the eagle up on his arm. So everybody hold the eagle up on your arm like this and unmute. And he said, can you remember, he's going to say, behold yourself and fly. So unmute. And he said, behold yourself and fly. And he flew the eagle high in the air. And this time, the eagle spread its wings, but then flapped to the ground, going like a chicken. Perfect. So the man, feeling a little bit irritated now, climbed down the tree, picked up the eagle again, looked around, and then looking at the mountain in the distance, said, I will throw this eagle from a mountain. Let me see it flap then. So he climbed where he walked for a while and a while and a while and a while and a while he walked. And he walked up a mountain. And when he reached the peak, he looked down, and far, far, far below him, he could see the silver ribbon of a river winding through the land. Could see the cloud. He was above the clouds, so he could see the clouds below him. He could see the trees small, like matchsticks, and so too could the eagle. The eagle had never, ever been that high before. And a strange feeling, entered the eagle's heart. And when the man saw that the eagle looked different, he lifted the eagle up on his arm like this. So let's hold the eagle up on our arms. And unmute as we say, behold,
Behold
yourself
and
fly.
fly.
And he threw the eagle high in the air. And this time, the eagle soared and swooped and flew, just like Baba C. Soared and swooped and flew and swooped, all because it realized at last that it was an eagle and not wait for it, not here it comes, not a chicken. The end of that story.
Well told, well told.
So that eagle, to Sir Mr. President King Louis, was always an eagle. It was never a chicken, but it acted like a chicken because it thought it was a chicken. And that is how the story goes. Now, since you are the youngest one here, cute Sir Mr. President King Louis, I have to ask you, should I tell another story? Yes. Does everybody else agree? Yes? Okay then. Then allow me to tell another story. Who's that there with John Rowe and Mr. Baden right there? There is a strange looking figure. Maybe it's a staff of some kind. It looks like it. So, once again, in a place far from here, but near to there. And I'll say it again. So I'm going to give you the opportunity to say, but near to there. So in a place far from here,
But near
to there.
to there.
I said, in a place from here.
But near
But near
to
there.
And one last time. In a place far from here.
But near to there.
Excellent. There was a grandfather. He lived in an African village a long time ago. And just to nod to Babasi, he lived in an African village a long
Asante.
time ago. But nobody can do it like Babasi. And in this village, he was very, very famous. People came from miles around to seek wisdom from him, and he always satisfied. And because of this, he was also very, very successful. Now, this successful grandfather had a grandson. The grandson was not so successful. In fact, the grandson had a major issue. And that issue was called impatience. The grandson wanted to know how the grandfather got to be so wise and so successful, but did not have the patience to hear what the grandfather had to say. So the grandson would walk up to the grandfather and he would say, "Grandfather, grandfather, I want to know how you got to be so wise and so successful. And let me make it clear, I want to know now." Now, those of you who know anything about African grandfathers know that if you are an African grandson, you don't speak to your grandfather like that. You need to be polite and respectful. But this grandson was very disrespectful. But even so, the grandfather just sat down, looked at the grandson, and he said, "Have patience, my son." And I would like all of us to unmute. And anytime I say, "and he said," I would like us all to say, "Have patience, my son." So let's practice. And he said,
Patience,
Patience,
my
my
son.
son.
excellent. You too, cute Sir Mr. President King Louis, sir. If you too can unmute and say this. And who's that just came in? Oh, it's Baden. Is it Brother Baden? You too can also unmute and say, like he said,
Have patience,
have
my son.
patience,
My
my son. The grandson, he didn't like what he was hearing. He said, "I'm being very patient. I am being patient. I am being patient. Grandfather, I just want to know something very, very simple. I want to know how you got to be so successful, and I want to know now. And he shouted in his grandfather's face. But still, the grandfather sat back. He looked at the grandson and he said,
Be patient, my
Patient,
son.
exactly what he said. And the grandson began to drool. Saliva flowed from the sides of his mouth. His nostrils grew wide and wide and wide. His eyes widened wide and wide and wide. His voice rose in volume, and he said, I am being very patient, and I want to know. And he raised his hand. I want to know. He raised his hand. I want to know. And he swung his hand and slapped his grandfather on the face. Can everybody say, "Oh"?
Oh!
This time, the grandfather stood up. He looked at the grandson and he said, follow me. And he began to walk. And the grandson followed him, saying, grandfather, where are you growing? But the grandfather did not answer, and he did not look back. So whenever I say the grandfather did not answer, and I say, and he did not, you say, look back. So the grandfather did not answer, and he did not
Look back.
And the grandfather continued walking. And the grandson said again, grandfather, where are you going? But still the grandfather did not answer, and he did not
look back.
And the grandfather walked into the sea. And he kept on walking, and the water rose up his legs, reached his knees, reached his hips and his waist, and continued to rise. And the grandson, wading through the water, said, grandfather, where are you going? And the grandfather continued to walk. He did not answer, and he did not
look back.
Look back.
That's right. He did not look back. And the water rose to the grandson's neck. And when the water rose to the grandson's neck, the grandson became frightened. And he turned back and went to walk back to the shore. But as soon as he turned back, the grandfather grabbed his head and pushed him under the water. And the grandson was under the water. And just at the moment when the grandson, if he had breathed, would have breathed in a lungful of water, the grandfather lifted him up, carried him to the shore, and left him lying on the shore. And the grandson came round, and he said, "Grandfather, why did you do that? Were you trying to kill me?" And the grandfather said to him, "No, my son, I was not trying to kill you, but I want you to understand something. If you are ever to be successful, let me ask you, what did you want when you were under the water? What did you want most?" Can anybody tell me what he wanted most?
Not to drown.
That he definitely wanted. But there was something that he wanted in the moment, precisely needed, wanted, desired, had to have.
To breathe.
Thank you very
Air.
much, Terry Locke and Babasi. And cute, sir, Mr. President King Louis, I'm sure you understood this, along with John Rowe and Baden. Well, I'm not sure about you, Baden, but definitely John Rowe. So the young man said, "Breathe. I wanted to breathe." And the grandfather said to him, "Yes, if you are to ever be successful, you must want it in the same way that you wanted to breathe. But above that, above all else, have patience, my son." And can everybody unmute and say, "Have patience, my son"?
Have patience, my
Hence,
son.
my son.
Excellent. And that is the end of that story. And I hope that we get from that story the keys to being successful and one of the key things to self-control. Thank you. So that's the end of that story. Can I ask, how long do I actually have for this? Does anybody know?
Until the end of time.
Ah, great. Then I've got enough time. Do you know how long? What is the?
Usually, you're safe to about quarter of or a little bit beyond that. And if you're safe to about quarter of or say 10 of, then John comes back in and makes the announcements about upcoming things. So
Okay,
say to 10 of.
So you mean till 10 to?
10, yes. I'm
So
in
you
the
have,
States. Yes.
you have 10 or
10
15
to.
minutes.
Say?
You have 10 or 15 more minutes.
10 or 15 more minutes. Okay, good. So I have another story for you. Mr. Cute,
And you know I'm borrowing these stories, right? Thank you, sir, in advance.
Please borrow them. I saw in the chat that you tell the eagle story as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I had forgotten that I told it. I tell it from a slightly different perspective, from slavery or what we call Jim Crow era in the United States. It's about it. But thank you for reminding me about the story.
Oh, you're most welcome. You're most welcome. And please feel free to borrow any story that you hear, because I believe that stories are for everyone. There's no stories. I mean, even I'll tell you a story that I wrote now, but you can also use that as long as you say Sola, it comes from Sola's story. Because Stories, they're universal. I wrote a story, but the story came to me. So that means it came from somewhere. And I don't know how to say exactly where it came from, other than it was ancestral. And therefore, the stories for everyone. Stories are universal, you know? So this story, as I'm sure by now you can imagine, comes from a place far from here.
But near to there.
No,
I
I
lost my
said
base.
that was pretty good though. This story comes from a place far from here.
But near to there.
This story comes
Oh,
from a place far from here.
but near
Near to there.
And in this place, far from here but near to there. The story is called The Golden Seed, by the way. In this place, far from here, but near to there, in a place called Ire, a land called Ire, in a town also called Ire, Tanaka wandered far and wide, for the land was a dust bowl. There was no water, no food, no wood for fuel. And Tanaka wandered, looking for food to feed his family. Because his family suffered from that disease of lack known as kwashiorkor. All was not well in Ire. And there was a reason. You see, once Ire was a green and luscious land. The people had plenty, and people came from miles around to sample that plenty. But there were jealous people, and they came from across the ocean. The people of Ire called them the evil ones. And they came with war and destruction, but they were not successful until they came with magic and sorcery. And Tanaka still remembered the evil mutterings of the chief sorcerer from the evil ones as he held his dark and withered hand up and said, "Behold your end. If we cannot have your land, you will not have it too. Behold despair. Behold the perfume," he said. And a dark roiling cloud landed on the ground and caused everybody to weaken immediately, caused all of the trees to die, caused the land to become a dust bowl. Now, there's something you should all know. Tanaka had a son. His son was called Imani. Imani means faith in Swahili, actually, which is a language from Africa, coots Mr. President King Louis. Imani means faith. And Imani was loved by everyone. Imani loved everyone. And Imani decided that he was going to go on a quest and solve the Dust Bowl condition of Ire. And so he did. The next day he set out. He walked along the riverbed, because there was no river there. But he could smell water. And every time he smelled water, he would dig and drink. So every time I say dig and drink, I would like you to go like this and like this and drink. So he would walk along and he would dig and drink. And he would dig and drink. Because smelling water was his skill. At one point, he went to dig, but he found in his hand something hard and smooth, and he pulled it up. And in his hand, there was a seed, a golden seed, shining with a golden light. Babasi asked, how does water smell? I would say, go and smell it and you'll know. So there was a golden seed shining with a golden light. And he held this seed in the palm of his hand. And when he closed his hand on the seed, suddenly he was somewhere else completely. He was in a wide tree-lined glade with a waterfall at the end of the tree-lined glade. And he walked through the waterfall. It was so cool and so refreshing. Into a crystal-lined cave, a circular crystal-lined cave. And in the middle of that crystal-lined cave, there was a platform. And on the platform, a figure was slowly materializing. Materializing, cute Sir Mr. President King Louis, means appearing. A figure was slowly appearing. It was an old, dark, black man with a tall, white, conical hat and a long, white beard like Babasi. And the tall, black man sat cross-legged, hovering, not touching the platform, but floating above the platform. And he said, "Young man, let me see what is in your hand." And the seed in Imani's hand flew into the old man's hand. And the old man put the seed to his ear and whispered some words to it. And he gave it back to Imani. And he said to Imani, "This seed, young man, is the salvation of Ire. But my brother, my twin brother who looks like me, he will come for you because he is the one that gave the head sorcerer the Dirk Fume spell. And you must not give in to fear. If you do, all is lost. So whenever you are about to give in to fear, hold the golden seed and speak these words. Ase, ase, ase. So can we all say those words? Ase, ase, ase. So whenever I say he said the magic words. I would like you to unmute and say those words. So Imani thanked the old father and walked through the cave, walked through the cave and reached the end of the cave. And he heard a sound behind him, and a big slug-like creature, body covered in blue electricity, reared up and pointed at the golden seed and said, "Give me that, it is mine." And Imani said, "No." And the creature sprayed electricity at Imani, but Imani clutched the seed and he said the magic words, which were
Ashe,
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 Ashe.
Ashe.
And as soon as he said that, bloop, he was somewhere else. He was in a whirlpool spinning round and round and round, and he began to be sucked under. But even though he was being sucked under, he clutched the seed again and he said the magic words, which were
Ashe,
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 Ashe, Ashe.
Bloop. He was in a completely different place. This time he was in a beautiful, lush green land, but he recognized that it was Ire before the dirt fume. And he looked up and he saw a dark, roiling cloud coming. He realized it was the time of the dirt fume. And he saw within this cloud lots of little imp-like creatures with horns and sharp teeth and claws. And they dived down towards him and they began to bite him and claw him and stab him with their horns. And Imani said, and then he remembered that he had in his hand the golden seed, and he clutched the golden seed and he said the magic words, which were
Ashe,
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 Ashe.
Ashe. He was back in his own time, in Ire, and he heard his father say, "Imani, where have you been?" And Imani said, it's fine, it's fine. Look, I have in this hand a golden seed. All we need to do is plant this seed in the center of the sacred grove, and it will get rid of the dirt fume. So his father called the elders. They all rushed to the center of the sacred grove. Imani took the seed. He planted the seed in the ground. And as he planted the seed in the ground, he says the magic words, which were
Ashe,
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 Ashe.
except because of his trials and tribulations, he said it more like this: Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Oh. And as he said this, suddenly the seed sprouted. And as it sprouted, a dark, cadaverous figure rose in the air that looked a lot like the man in the cave, but it was see-through and like smoke. And the wind blew, and it blew this figure away. And all everyone heard was a sound like, "No!" And it blew the dirt fume away. And as it blew the dirt fume away, seeds popped up all over the land, making a and as it happened, all the trees grew back, the grass grew back, the rivers were filled with sweet waters once again. And all the old elders say, they said then, and they say to this day, that Imani faith was the salvation of Ire. The end. If you liked that story, cute Mr. President King Louis, and everybody else, wave your hand like this.
Thank you.
And Mr. Sola Story, thank you very much. It's been a brilliant set. Thank you very much. King Louis, did you enjoy that? And
I think he's in
marvelous.
transit again.
And we'll get you back.
I think King Louis enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's
So,
in transit, but I think he's trying to respond.
Hello, King Louis. Did you enjoy that?
It was incredible.
Oh, excellent. That's what we like to hear. And you've been incredible.
So
Thank you.
remember everyone on Sunday 6 p.m. UK and Irish time. It's worldwide story round. Everyone hosted by Mike Russ from Get a Word in Edgeways. Anyone is welcome to come along, tell a story. See you all there. And Sola, thank you so much for coming back to us. You will undoubtedly return in the near future.
Yes, indeed, I will. And thank you to all
Thank
of
you.
you.
Bye bye, everyone.
Good to
Take care.
Thank
Thank you, Willie, for flying the magic salute.
So, if you can join us August
I've got about
2nd.
1% left on my phone. See you, Papa. See. Bye.
All right. Join us
Bye.
August 2nd. I'll be telling stories for children and celebrating my birthday.
Oh, August 2nd.
Same to you. Thank you, Louis. I will be here especially for you and my birthday, August 2nd. That's Friday. Right.
Take care, Baden. Take care.
So,
Yo. Ooh, Baden, Sola, and Baba C. Whoa.
Ah, again.
I'm here,
And
luckily.
King Louis.
It can happen.
Okay. We're out of here because my phone is going to die.
All right. Take care, John.
Take
Talk
care.
to you soon.
Take care.
Yeah, thank you, Waleed, for flying the magic carpet.
Yay, bo,
All right.
yay, bo.
Peace.
Oh, Sola. Next
Yeah.
time, check your audio. I think you have to put it on original so that when you do the long and you do those extended notes, you don't get muted out.
Oh, did I get muted out? Oh,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Okay.
I know. I went to the same thing. So check your audio, and there's a thing to check or uncheck, but you'll see it when you check your audio.
Oh, okay. Okay.
All right.
Thank
All
you
right.
very much.
I love your story. Oh, one more thing. I know they're gonna cut us off. One more thing. You remember when I don't know if you saw, they circulated the thing of you and I sitting together singing James Brown, I Feel Good. They're still circulating it in my community.
Oh, really? Really?
Yes. Yes.
Excellent. Excellent.
And I'll be reposting it soon. All right.
All right then, my brother.
Sola, King Louis, two of my favorite people. Take care.
Yes.
Stay well.
King Louis, Baba C, two of my favorite people. Take care. Peace.
Take care, man. Bye, Baba C, and happy birthday, right?
Bye.
Thank you.
That's okay.